and welcome to another edition of The Drive right here on IndigoMusic.com. I'm Rohit, and today we're going to take a look at some of the iconic cars that was featured in the Fast and Furious franchise. Let's start off with Fast and Furious 1, which is, of course, Paul Walker or Brian O'Connor's Supra, the orange Supra. Now, the 1995 Mark IV Toyota Supra was a quintessential 10-second car that became an instant icon when it appeared in the inaugural movie of the franchise all the way back in 2001. It's also a car that out a Ferrari on the highway, making it instantly one of the most attractive cars in the world. Moving on from the 1995 Toyota Supra to another iconic car from the first installment of Fast and Furious, I'm talking about Vin Diesel's character Dom Toretto's Dodge Charger. Now, the 1970 Dodge Charger RT that Dom housed inside his garage was special to him because it was his father's. Now, Dominic Toretto managed to lovingly rebuild the car from the ground up, but elected never to race it until the finale of the first movie, where he went toe-to-toe with Brian's Supra before it got blindsided by an oncoming truck. Moving on from the first installment of Fast and Furious to the second installment of Fast and Furious, I'm talking about Too Fast and Too Furious. This happens to be one of the most iconic cars ever to be featured in the Fast and Furious movie franchise, and I'm talking about Paul Walker's Nissan Skyline. Now, the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR is rare, and it sold last time at a particular event in Brussels for $13,57,000. Now, how rare and one-off is the car? Well, it was bought in Japan and shipped over to the United States by Kaizo Industries. Though it arrived without an engine, Kaizo later sourced a correct RB26 unit and modified the car according to Paul Walker's wishes. And there were many. It had a Turbonetics front-mounted intercooler, a few exhaust tweaks, increased boost pressure, Nismo lowering springs, a custom roll cage, a titanium strut base, bigger brakes with side skirts, and of course a brand new steering wheel. So many modifications, and that's why the car is one of a kind. Moving on from the Nissan Skyline GTR to another car that featured in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Now, this is the movie where Han as a character was introduced, and his car instantly became iconic. Now, it's the legendary Mazda RX-7 FD, which was the car that Han drove and remains one of the best cars in the franchise. With a custom body built by Japanese aftermarket company Whaleside, the RX-7 even won the Best Car Award in 2005 at the Grand Prix show. Now, the final car on the list came later on in the franchise. I'm talking about Fast and Furious 7. Now, this is a car that was much talked about, not after the movie released, but even before the movie released. I'm talking about the Lykan Hypersport. Now, in a bid to retrieve a computer chip that housed the God's Eye computer program, the crew of Fast and Furious lands in Abu Dhabi to steal the ultra-rare Lykan Hypersport from a millionaire's penthouse. Now, the cost of the car? Hold your breath, $3.4 million, and they drive it off a skyscraper into a second skyscraper and then finally into the third one. Now, this is a scene that etched itself into the list of the most outlandish Hollywood blockbuster scenes ever, and with it, the Lykan Hypersport became even more famous. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of The Drive. Which is your favorite car from the Fast and Furious movie franchise? Do let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Rohit signing off.